me assure you, it's not going to happen. We're going to get our first peek of what they're playing by seeing exactly what comes down in the prizes. There's power tablets, judges, path to the peaks for Alex Cole. It's kind of a giveaway when you see the power tablet where we're going with that one, but the energy given up there with the inclusion of that single double turbo in the prizes, so we know that the Fusion Strike list we just saw is going to be left at home. And Alex's list is something a little bit different. We see a Melanie and a water energy. That usually leads you down one path when you're guessing your opponent's deck, looking at something like the Palkia. It's not going to be that. There's actually a Vikavolt V in the prizes, a hint towards maybe a more varied deck. This deck certainly has a number of options in it. I don't even know really what to call it. It's the anti-meta deck, I guess, that has an option for everything.
Yeah, this seems like a Melanie-style toolbox deck. We saw a deck like this, maybe not as versatile as the deck that Krekeler is playing, win a championship. As we're getting into things, Alex Cole starting it off. Let's go ahead and get a few Genesects down. Alex starting that best starter in the deck in that Mew. Mysterious Tail is going to be a great Pokemon to find these early game item cards. Right now in the format, we have a lot of search to find a lot of basic Pokemon.
There's plenty of good stuff in Alex Cole's hand as well. Being able to, of course, just lay down those two Genesects right off the bat. You've got your Mew V in the active, probably a bit of a stretch to try and knock it out super early. But then, of course, an Ultra Ball to follow up and keep filling up your bench, or just pick the pieces that you need. Going through, doing that prize count, probably realizing that one of those energies is missing, but making sure that he knows what is available to him, what's in the hand. It's going to be a follow-up Mew, so being able to get another Fusion Strike Pokemon down, Fusion Strike system is going to be a lot better. So the hand getting thin, there was a power tablet thrown away, so that's something he's obviously not worried about. That count now available to him currently sat at 2. There's 2 cards left in the hand and 4 Fusion Strikes on the board.
Yeah, so this is a thing. When you're setting up with Mew, your setup is pretty linear, but you always have to take into account in any game of Pokemon you play what your opponent is playing. And Alex started a pretty ambiguous starter in Mew. Not a lot of top archetypes are playing that card right now, and that's something that you've got to be sort of curious. Like, okay, I'm not playing against Lugia. I'm probably not playing against Lost Box. Like, what am I playing against, and do I have to be careful when maybe getting rid of some of these resources on decks that I could potentially be playing up against?
Well, it is going to be the drop of the Forest Seal Stone down onto one of the Gen 6. Another Fusion Strike system fills his hands with supporters. So a number of options in there, but none of them available to him, of course, on this turn. There's the Judge that was popularized in some of those Mew builds a couple of weeks ago, and he just passes it over after a pretty solid setup for Alex Cole. Now, with Alex Krekeler on the board, he gets the perfect turn 1 card, the Battle VIP Pass. It's your first turn. You get to just go and grab 2 basic Pokemon. It is an absolutely preposterously good card on turn 1, and pretty useless on the rest. But thumbing through the deck, we are going to be privileged to see a number of those options in there. He is going pretty quickly, so we'll try and call them out as we see them. But it is the Raikou V is in there. I do see a Drapion knocking about as well. Zapdos, a Ditto, which I think is going to be very fun. So definitely a toolbox is what you were calling it.
Yeah, a lot of fun surprises here. And the Drapion getting put down right away. That is a card directly for this Mew VMax deck. And usually we see it once Mew VMax has come out itself. But because a lot of these decks that are playing just Path to the Peak now aren't utilizing things like Lost City, you can utilize something like the Drapion more than one time. Still has access to that Mysterious Tail to set up. This is a deck that has many surprises going for it so far. I think the big thing to think about as well is on your first turn for Alex here, what are you really looking for besides this? It's got to be just to attack with Drapion, sure, but how are you going to maintain the prize trade is what I'm thinking at this point.
Got to keep it up, and if you're not hitting into the VMAXs, you kind of fall down a little bit. The Mysterious Tail does grab him a quick ball, so he can keep going with the setup, and he did work in that Speed Lightning energy as well to just keep seeing cards. So it's all kind of coming together. He's got a hand full of goodies in there as well. As the quick ball gets rid another one of those Mysterious Tail Mews. If he's feeling good about the setup, he doesn't need to keep on rolling with it. And I see more setup options in there as well with the Radiant Greninja, being able to keep things going. Speaking of setup options, Crobat V coming to the hand, being able to draw up, but will need to thin the hand quite significantly before being able to play that one through.
Oh, I just realized Ditto V is so good in this matchup. The fact that it can essentially just become your second Drapion. Ditto V is a really interesting card because this card is so versatile. It allows you to become any V Pokemon in your discard pile, and you maintain the effects that you have, which means you can evolve up into VMAX Pokemon. You do keep your energies, things like that, right? So it just gets pretty much essentially switched out. And what that means is you can recycle Drapion, which is so important and can be so frustrating as a Mew player to have this constant threat in your opponent's side that's just taking knockout after knockout, and you can't do anything about it.
Particularly when you've filled the bench nice and early, you've activated Wild Style, and that Dynamic Tail is going to be an easy knockout right there. There is more to come from Alex Krekeler and Ultra Ball, getting rid of a Cross Switcher and the Radiant Greninja, so not worried about that for setup so much. Just being able to keep the ball rolling on that. It is going to be the Lost Vacuum getting rid of that Forest Seal Stone. The Ditto V hits the bench, and the Crobat V allows him to keep on drawing with the Dark Asset. So a lot going on here for Alex Krekeler in this first turn. He's going to be able to go back in the deck and look for some energy as well.
Yeah, really looking for a switching card. That's the one piece missing from here. Needs to find something like the Scoop Up Net to move this out of the active, as that is the only thing besides Cross Switcher. We saw one of those pieces hit the discard pile earlier this turn. Smart play, though, is going to play the Energy Search first, has a Trekking Shoes in hand. We also haven't seen a supporter card yet for turn either. Has access to Marnie as well. So really just looking for Scoop Up Net. And there's the Actodactyl V-Star. Not very good in this specific hand. Does just go ahead and play the Trekking Shoes. May have to just rely off this Marnie to find one of these scoop-up nets, potentially.
This is all about the ability to just keep going and keep digging to find some of those pieces that he needs. There are a number of scoop-up nets in there. None of them have been discarded, so being able to find one of those would be huge. As a Cross Switcher, another Trekking Shoes, an Ultra Ball.
Finds it on the last
there
card.
It is, right in the back. He tried to hide it from us. I don't know if you saw that, Ethan, but trying to sneak that one away. Of course, that Mew can go right back down. It's now nice and safe, but Drapion V is in the active. Wild Style, reducing the attack cost by a colorless for each rapid, single, or fusion strike. In this case, the one that's relevant is Fusion Strike, goes down by 4, and that means he attacks for free with Dynamic Tail, easily taking the knockout.
Yeah, and putting the 6 damage counters on the Zapdos. The Zapdos having 60 damage on it is never going to be relevant, and it's better on putting it on the Drapion. The Drapion will always most likely get knocked out, but just in the case that your opponent doesn't have something like the Choice Bell, the Power Tablet, things get weird. This is an inclusion we saw since the Toronto Regional Championships. Decks like Mew are shying away from playing Marnie, instead want to start playing cards like Judge. This plays around with things like Oranguru being unable to stack top decks on the top of the deck. And also, having your opponent shuffle in means that they already have bad resources in hand. There's the potential for them to draw into it again.
Yeah, putting away those bad resources on the bottom really does help out some trainers. It's going to be a pretty lackluster draw, though, for Alex Cole here. Not really seeing many ways to get through. He is going to have to switch. That's just burning a card,
Only
essentially.
one card off Fusion Strike system. And,
yeah.
and he's just
scooping it up.
Yeah, there's no way to knock this Drapion out, so Drapion gets to take a to incorporate a lot of these different attackers into scenario. Prize cards don't look too terrible. Greninja can be annoying to have in the prize cards, but it's just going to stun a little bit of early style. And Alex going to start, and he's coming for you. He's knocking at your door. He's saying, let me in, let me in. Drapion's here again.
It's such a tough choice for Alex Cole as the Mew player. When you're coming into this game, you're like, yes, I would love to set up. I'd love to set all my Genesects down. I'd love to be able to, really keep the ball rolling and make sure I can Fusion Strike system over and over and over again. But then you activate Wild Style. I think the real way to go here is maybe offer up something a little bit softer, even the Genesect, would be a better loss, I think, than a Mew. Get a Mew powered up, take out the Drapion, and then hope that he has no way to get that back. The Ditto V, maybe eluding him, maybe hoping that he doesn't have any way to grab that out of the discard.
So it's actually okay in the scenario. So in my opinion, you can't stunt your setup just to be afraid of Drapion. I think there's a better play here from Alex, though, is playing that Oricorio. And Oricorio is great against this because it means that the Drapion attack is out of range from being able to knock out something like the Genesect, or something like a damage modifier, or a way to put damage counters on like Galarian Zigzagoon.
Yeah,
plays just a little bit better. But you can't just, if this deck doesn't set up, if it doesn't play Battle Pass on turn 1, if it doesn't find Pokemon, it's not going to be able to put on enough aggression to keep up with it eventually. The Drapion will just come in another turn, right? You're eventually still going to have to put 4 Pokemon in play.
At some point, yes, the bench needs filling.
It's going to have to happen. And additionally, even if you put 2 in play, Alex can Melanie onto the Drapion, attach to it, and then still attack using the ability and just Wild Style.
Yeah, I think at some point, you're going to get hit by Dynamic Tail in this matchup, and you have to accept that. I think being able to buy some time with the Genesect would be peachy, but, you've got to make sure that that trade is worth it, and you are immediately able to fire back. There's the Oricorio you rightfully called out, Ethan, being able to keep that Dynamic Tail damage down and well away from it. It is going to be a double battle VIP pass, so a lot of cards getting drawn out of the deck for Alex Cole here, being able to just really keep going with what he needs. There was an Ultra Ball and the Quick Ball early doors as well. A lot of cards hitting the discard in exchange for that, but He is going to have the bench full. He is going to be set up exactly how he wants. So he's obviously just saying one off each. That's fine.
Yeah. Just want to play both of them. There's no reason to just not play.
Get him out of the hand.
One. Yep, get them out of the hand, draw some cards. This is typical Mew fashion. Do everything as possible to make the hand as low as possible. Draw some cards of Genesect, rinse
play them all
till the sun goes down, right?
Yeah. Draw up to 6. Play all 6, draw up to 6. It's you know, that's the dream really for the Mew player. A lot of good cards though. You are going to get to take a look at a whole lot. There's going to be another one of those battle VIP passes clogging up the hand, but the Forest Seal Stone can definitely go down onto one of these Genesects. Doesn't really matter which one. Maybe not the active, but you know, just making sure it goes down. Thinning even further with the Ultra Ball. Maybe grabbing a card for next turn. We'll see how he wants to do this. Yeah, he's just going to say, doesn't matter. He knows he's not wanting to grab anything, but he just wants to get another Fusion Strike system put through. Of course, your opponent's deck is private knowledge. They do not know anything about it, so you can't say you have to draw out of it.
Yeah, discarding the Power Tablet there, I mean, on one hand, you have to draw a few more, and I mean, Power Tablet was not happy to leave the hand as multiple have come from the deck into it. But I have to imagine you're going to want to play the Power Tablet anyways next turn, and you already have your full board on what you're looking for. You maybe have to wonder if it's really worth. You already have the Path in hand, maybe just to fill the hand up to maybe find an out against Path. And Path does shut off Drapion. So that is the best card here for Alex to play against this.
That's the thing we didn't see in game number 1 either, was that Path of the Peak. It was just eluding him. So Alex Cole's dig there, paying off big, as there is now no wild style in play. There is going to be a push, I think, from Alex Krekeler to be able to get rid of it. And he definitely has ways around it. I can see a couple of options that would allow him to either bump or remove the stadium. Path of the Peak is going to be essential to stay in play for Alex Cole. That's something we didn't talk about in his setup. But now this Drapion, I mean, yes, you were saying you could Melanie to it. But yeah, that's a lot of energy that you need if you're not using Wild Style. Because right now, it's attacking for free. As long as that Wild Style is off, you know, is not available, you're in such great shape.
There are 3 Scoop Up Net in the hand. All those that were so hard for Alex to find at the beginning of the game have suddenly showed up and offered their patronage to help out. But in this point, it won't be very, very necessary or useful. I think Alex is just kind of deciding what even benefits me at this point. I mean, Zapdos is nice. You get an additional 10 damage passively. It's the Thunder Symbol ability, I believe, that allows you to just have a little, or Lightning Symbol, rather, just allows you to deal an extra 10 damage. Listen, I was closer, right?
Between us, we've now covered all the different terms for Lightning, Electric, and Thunder. We've really covered our bases on that one.
It's like our band name now at this point.
Yeah, it's an Earth, Wind, and Fire tribute band. It's honestly, I went and saw him live. It wasn't good. But anyway, we're back to the gameplay, as it is just Alex's time to set up, getting that Zapdos down, getting the Mew down, along with the Raikou V. Does pull out a Galarian Zigzagoon as well. That Drapion's still sitting in the active, ready to swing for some damage, but if it can bump the path.
So that's really big here to find the Galarian Zigzagoon. It means that this plus another Scoop Up Net means that those 20 damage that the Oricori would essentially offset can be put here, but instead, Alex is just deciding, look, it's going to be pretty unlikely here for me to get exactly where I want, or I know my opponent isn't playing Fusion Energy in their deck. I can still deal 170 damage to this now, and then later down the line, utilize my Galarian Zigzagoon to maybe take a knockout later instead of, you know, using these resources. And wow, found it in hand off the Marnie. Only 2 outs in the deck. Found it directly. 170 damage. Oricorio coming in clutch. The bird is the word.
Apparently so, but that lost vacuum is huge. It does mean this Drapion gets to play, but the onus still on Alex Cole to be able to, you know, fire back, get this Mew powered up, and just take this Drapion down. Taking it down without giving up prizes is really, really big here, I think, and being able to do that. That said, that Marnie from the previous turn does look a little bit punishing. There is, of course, the Forest Seal Stone, which is going to help out with being able to find what you need. And with the path gone, Fusion Strike system is certainly an option. These are not the cards you wanted. He definitely had the pieces in the previous hand, so he does have another path. He could try and lock this one up really, really neatly. He's going to keep on digging, though, and I really like this.
Yeah, so he has it guaranteed with the Forest Seal Stone, but really just doesn't want to burn the V-Star power. It's great as just a guaranteed out of path because, again, we said this on time before in the stream, but you can use Forest Seal Stone under path due to just a weird interaction of ruling that it has with the name. So that's the thing to think about at this point. Has lost vacuum already, but is there anything else you want to play in regards to this? Oh, there is a big-time card in this hand. Has the Volo, can use that to discard one of the benched Pokemon, get rid of this Genesect potentially, and essentially negate Alex's use of this Drapion, a powerful card in this matchup.
And being able to just remove that from play is huge, because that's, as you mentioned, the easy prizes that, you know, Zigzagoon, Scoop Zigzagoon could catch him with later. So I think Alex Cole...
Are we going to see it?
It's really easy to say Alex is in the driving seat, and I'm just right every time. And there is the Heroes Medal. Alex Krekeler, one of those players who knows pretty much every card, really having to go in and read it.
And there it is, the Volo, discarding the Genesect, healing essentially all that damage off. You do lose a little bit of the draw power, so we'll only fill the hand up to 5. We'll not have access to that Genesect, but it is well worth it to take that liability off your board.
Yep, the Heroes Medal, of course, being reducing HP, but giving up less prizes. Absolutely huge there, as the Mew VMax just swings and takes out that Drapion. And the big thing for Alex Cole here, compared to game number 1, of course, is there's no easy way for that Drapion to come back. You know, you're looking for something like the Ditto V.
Yeah,
but that's not on the bench, just waiting like it was in the previous game. Of course, over to Alex Krekeler's turn. He is now behind, would be able to not actually advance. If he does get the knockout on this Mew VMax, he does only get 2 prizes. So he's still, you know, making that prize trade really, really awkward.
Yeah, the Heroes Medal is a huge card. Alex's only way to get rid of the tool is gone. So we'll either have to gust around it, but I mean, you can run from the Heroes Medal, but the Heroes Medal will always be there. it is going to have to be dealt with at some point, which means it's going to be 3 turns. And Alex understands that the Heroes Medal essentially means that he cannot keep pace with Alex in this matchup.
Yep.
And that is...
We'll get in today too. The other one's got opportunities to get that as well, as the prizes do come down. Pretty mixed. Again, no horrible prize games from either Alex. Just being able to get some pieces in there. Silene showing up, of course, and Alex Krekeler will be going first. This Raikou V in the active, and the perfect turn 1 card, the Battle VIP pass. Right away, I see the Drapion was on the bottom of the deck, so now it's on the front. Should be an easy selection here for him.
Yeah, a little smart thing that Alex did there that was super intelligent on his end was utilize fleet-footed before playing the Battle VIP pass. When playing Battle VIP pass, you're looking for basics on your first turn anyways. And what this does essentially is you draw a card before you play Battle Pass, because Battle Pass is going to take 2 basics out of your deck. And if you're looking for basics anyways, you might as well draw into hopefully one of the ones you're looking for regardless. Didn't quite happen as a Melanie instead, but could utilize this Radiant Grid into finally seeing it come down to just get a little bit more draw on this first turn. And as you mentioned, Drapion is the card of this matchup. It is here strictly for Mew, nothing else.
Yep. He's going to concealed cards, one of those waters going into the discard, drawing an extra 2, making sure that we're all, you know, playing through our turn nice and neatly. The Lightning Energy goes down onto the Raikou V. The Mew from Celebrations makes it down there with the Mysterious Tail. And it's just a pass after that one. So I think Alex probably waiting for a wild style opportunity once again. So Alex Cole, it's looking like a slightly slower setup than we've seen in previous games, actually. You know, not being able to play through as quickly as he likes to know you know, Battle VIP passes. Probably going to have to play a little bit slower with some tricky discards as he hovers that Ultra Ball right now. There's one of those Mew VMaxes and double turbo energies hitting the discard in exchange for maybe another Genesect being able to Fusion Strike system for a whole lot more.
Yeah, so this is really interesting. Always looking towards the future turns is really important when you're playing these decks that involve mapping the prizes out. So, I mean, on Alex's end, I'm trying to think what Pokemon are going to come down in the future. Because at this point, you really don't want to put Drapion down into play if your opponent's just going to take knockouts on it. At this point, Raikou is in a very good position to take these knockouts onto Mew turn 2. So you have to wonder if you're Alex's position, what is your best way to play around your opponent essentially taking prizes without utilizing Drapion? All that's going to mean is it's going to be a little bit more difficult for you to find what's most likely going to be Path to the Peak in combination with a way to get yourself out of Path to the Peak for the following turn, whether that's the Forest Seal Stone or one of those Lost Vacuums in the deck. But these are big 2 cards. What are they? There's nothing happening there.
There's nothing. I mean, there's a Chromatic.
Can't Chromatic away anything in this hand. Can
That's
play
the
down another
problem.
Mew, but
He has to Forest Seal Stone. It's the only way. Being able to, of course, use Star Alchemy. You can go in and grab any card that you want. It's pretty good. I mean, particularly with a deck like this that doesn't have a V-Star power. You may as well. It's just a free card. Of course, you have to, you know, be careful about it.
Yeah, so, I mean, playing the Battle Pass here is good. You're, of course, going to get set up. You can't play it on any other turn than the first turn. But Alex Krekeler in this case, is more than happy to see a full bench because it means Raikou's going to be dealing more damage, and it means most likely you're just going to be able to take prize cards a little bit easier in this case. You don't have to utilize the Drapion necessarily when you don't need to. But Orikorio coming down means that that could be a good option for Alex to put up into the active. which essentially would just buy another turn to try to put Alex Krekeler onto this 2-2-2 strategy when it comes to taking prizes. Hero's Medal can be a little bit tricky to deal with. Krekeler only has the one way to deal with that card.
Yep, well, there's another Fusion Stroke system. Lost Vacuum and Escape Rope off of that one. Now has some options for the Chromatic, potentially. Just making sure that hand's nice and full. But, you know, being able to... was lingering with the idea, I think, of the following Mew. The Escape Rope going down, and it's going to be a Tails on that one. So nothing out of that Chromatic. Definitely slowed down. That would have been, I think, the final push to get there. And with that being said, yeah, it's Mew V hitting the bench, so a full complement of Mews. The Path to the Peak going down and locking things out. So the last card in the hand, just saying, you know what? Oh, it's bumped right away.
That is a big-time stadium find. Wow.
That is...
Found the trading core. Didn't even retreat into Oricorio, which I think was a little bit surprising because you don't want to just give your opponent the free 2 prizes of the Raikou. Don't necessarily even need to play down the trading court this turn, but trading court will get this back, can just concealed cards it away. Lightning Rondo on the Raikou currently is dealing, well, let's see, it's 20 more for each bench, so 120 for the opponent's bench, and then dealing another 60. So it's dealing enough to take a knockout on the Mew, pending one more Pokemon comes down to play. And there it is. That's enough damage. Take this knockout. Has Melanie as well, can put the energy onto the Ditto. And a Ditto is scary in the fact that it can just become anything. And when you're playing a closed list deck tournament like this, you have no clue when you're playing against such a wacky deck what your opponent's going to like summon out of their discard pile. It could be, there's so many Water V Pokemon, it could be anything. It could be Starmie V for all you know.
I know it's not in this one, but I'm glad it's not over here. But, you know, being able to get a knockout with the Raikou, save that Drapion for later is absolutely huge. It looks like we're just inspecting. And, of course, you know, getting rid of that first Path to the Peak. Yes, there are multiples in the list, but the Path to the Peak, immediate bump. It's got to feel so bad. He played his whole hand. He thought, you know what, I'm going to get through this. I'm going to lock you out so you're not going to have access to anything, really. And then, yeah, it's just going to be a real tough time. So Alex Krekeler with a nice full hand over here. He's got plenty of options, and it looks like he's just confirming exactly what he wants to do.
His hand is massive. Use concealed cards, Melanie, a bunch of ways to draw cards. Can even put down another bench Pokemon if he so chooses to. Lots of options to work with. Choosing to put the Vikavolt V down is okay, but this late into the game, it's not really doing anything. It's just there to provide maybe another Pokemon, get it out of the hand, and there you go. Alex Krekeler taking the first 2 prize cards of this game. Alex Cole has to respond, probably in a way, try to get rid of this, and we are going to see the, looks like the Hero's Medal off of the Mew now to just draw a few more cards with this first Fusion Strike system. There is the double turbo energy, but besides
Where's
that,
the new VMax?
With only one more Fusion Strike system, I think Alex Cole's deciding, do I want to bench this Mew here? It means that this would be the last Fusion Strike system I'd use. However, I would draw an additional 2 cards comparison.
He's not going for it. Oh, he's missing what he needs. Yes, he can path lock again, but it's just not going to be enough. I think this Raikou's already set up. It's going to be able to just Lightning Rondo.
No, when you just took off the Hero's Medal as well, which means that promoting this Oricorio doesn't change your game plan. You still lose if your opponent can knock out one of your Mew VMax at that point.
Yeah, I think the Hero's Medal had to go there, right? The Hero's Medal had to go because if you evolve it into the Mew VMax, you know, at that point you need it to be the big bulky option. You know, you need it to rely on its full complement of health, and taking that away is certainly difficult. Of course, there's the boss's orders that summons up that Vikavolt V. The Genesect V goes into the active, so trying to slow things down and not give up another one of these Mews, particularly after he's played down all of the pieces. So tough one for Alex Cole there, missing out on that Mew VMax, really hurting and really putting him behind. Alex Krekeler could run into the lead in this turn. He's got a massive hand as well and would be able to potentially find, switching options? Yeah, I see them in there.
Yeah, even attacking with something like Vikavolt is not a bad play in this position. You'd item block, which means the Genesect would need to utilize double turbo energy to retreat. You also can put a little bit of damage on it. The way it stands, Lightning Rondo is not dealing enough damage because of the Oricorio. 200 base, minus Oricorio, so it's 180 damage. Genesect just hanging on with 10 HP as it stands. So we're just getting some confirmation to make sure that everything is as it should be damage-wise and that both players are on their same page. But at this point, we are going to see the Speed Lightning come down onto this Vikavolt, looking to see if there's any way to get some more water energies in the discard pile at this point. But this is how it is. So Lightning Rod on full bench hits 220. So right now it's 200 damage, if I'm calculating it correctly. But because Oricorio is there,
it's not the Genesect he's swinging into.
No, it was never the plan. It was always to go after the Mew. It's the big two cross switchers.
You did the numbers. I was very proud. You know, I thought, you know what? I know he's got it, but then as soon as he does the counts, and he's definitely counting, that monstrous size hand just had, of course, the double cross switcher rating, and that Mew that Alex Cole put so many resources into the last turn, you know, really was looking for that Mew VMax, doesn't get to stick around and is just removed from play.
Yeah, and we see the Forest Seal Stone of Alex's own, or Alex Krekeler's own coming down to play, which means that there's a guaranteed path bump potentially, because again, you can utilize Forest Seal Stone under your own path. And Alex Cole is up against the wall. 6 prizes to 2. Drapion hasn't even been utilized yet. Ditto V is still in play, has energies on multiple Pokemon. What can you do? It's got to start with some way to disrupt the hand, maybe get off this Forest Seal Stone as well.
Yep.
And we are going to see the Forest Seal Stone removed. So, hey, listen, if Path to the Peak has worked early game with Marnie, Path to the Peak can work late game. I believe in Path to the Peak. That card has worked miracles.
Yeah, it's a very powerful card. It's something I really, really like. I've always enjoyed locking out of abilities. And this is another pretty treacherous draw for Alex Cole. Not quite seeing what he wants, but he does get a Roxanne. So being able to Roxanne, potentially get his last path in, could be the way to go. I believe he's already down 2, so being able to get that in would be absolutely massive. But really limiting Alex's monstrous hand and finding a lock and a way to slow him down is the way to go here. The draw for Alex Cole is going to be important. He does need to get a Mew VMax at some point. That's his way to attack. He needs to see one.
Yeah, said Marnie Path was strong. Roxanne Path is even stronger. So getting 6 cards, still needing to find a Mew VMax. There's Chromatic. See if this hits heads.
There it
does. So that can guaranteed grab the Mew VMax.
Oh, he knows.
Oh, what? Oh, the path is. Oh, the path is prized?
No, the prizing earlier. You remember he discarded the first Mew.
Oh.
He had the other Mew VMax prized.
Oh, it's not there.
So he doesn't have access to the Mew VMax. So at no point is he going to be able to.